Thanks for purchasing your portable building. We're going to do an installation video with you, kind of start to finish, explaining all the parts and pieces with you. First off, when you get your building, you're either going to have to come to our yard and pick it up with a trailer, or we'll have a delivery arranged to go to your place. When your building comes, it's going to come in a package similar to what's right behind me here, on a pallet or in a skid just like this. All your parts and pieces will be on there. They'll be bundled together. At that point, you can then cut your bundle open, start going through all your parts and pieces. You'll notice when the package comes to you, there might be an extra sheet. You might wonder what the purpose of this is for. Typically on top, there's a cover sheet. Sometimes it's the same color, sometimes it's not. There's zero purpose to this sheet except for the fact that it's used just strictly to keep the package from scratching anything of the cladding below. So you're free to use this sheet for your own purposes after the job or on the building. Okay, so now we're going to go over some of the parts that are on the package that you've been given. So on the package, there's going to be base rails. These go on the ground of the building. These have dowels that are welded on. You'll also be given a box. In the box is most of the smaller parts and components that you need for the installation of the carport. You're going to be given one of two anchoring systems. We can supply you with a 30-inch rebar anchor. This is for asphalt, dirt, and gravel applications. We'll also either give you a concrete anchor, which is a 7-inch wedge anchor. We'll go over the installation of these later. You're going to be given a bag of self-tapping gasketed screws. These screws have seals on there to seal up the cladding to the roof. These screws are the screws you use for the whole installation of the building. You'll also be given some dowels. These connect the legs to the rafters. You're going to be given some 2-foot corner bracing. This is U-channel bracing. If you have a front or a rear wall kit or any door framing that you need, you'll be given 90 brackets. If you have an A-frame building, you're going to be given galvanized hat trap. This is the strapping for the roof. You'll obviously be given legs or posts, what we call them. So whatever leg height you ordered, that's the post that you'll be given. If you've ordered an A-frame building, you're going to be given some ridge cap. This seals up the roof. We'll go over the installation of this in a bit as well. And then we got two different style of trims. We'll go over these in details later. Corner trim and then roof trim. Okay, so now you're ready to start putting your frame together. What you're going to do is you're going to lay your rafters down on the ground. You're also going to find out your posts where they are. You're going to lay them down as well. Then you're going to grab those parts that we were calling dowels. You're going to grab a dowel. You're going to go to your rafter and you're going to slide it in the bottom of the rafter. You're going to grab some screws and you're going to put a screw right here and right here. Whatever you do on the one side, you're going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So you're going to do 2 screws here and 2 screws there. Once that's screwed in, you can then grab your post and that will slide right into there as well. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to put a screw here and you're going to put a screw here on both sides. Now you've also been given this U-channel, this corner bracing. This corner bracing is going to go right in the corner. And you're going to put a screw right here, and you're also going to put a screw into the post. We highly recommend going into the post. This is going to give it a bit more stability. You're going to screw both sides again. Whatever you do on the one side, you're going to do on the opposite side as well. Now, if your building is under 16 feet in width, you're also going to be given an extra one of these, and this is going to go right in the center of the building. This is going to act as your collar tie. So that's going to go right there. You're going to put a screw here, here, and on the opposite side as well. If your building's over 16 feet wide, you're going to be given a welded center collar tie. That will be all done ahead of time for you. Now, if you've ordered a building with a front or a rear wall kit that's enclosed, now is a really good time to find out which sheets on your pallet are for that front or rear wall kit. What you're going to want to do if your building's 12 feet wide, those sheets will be 12 feet in length. You're going to want to grab that sheet, and I'll use this sheet as an example. You're going to grab that sheet, you're going to lay it on the rafter from the whole length of the building. Then you're going to get a marker or a Sharpie, and you're going to scribe that sheet out. What this allows you to do, it's going to end up getting you the whole cut line that you're going to then cut later for installing this sheet. It saves you a lot of time to do it now while it's on the ground and you don't have to do it on a ladder. We'll go over the rear walls and front walls later, but this is a good tip to do right away before you start setting your frame up. So now you have all your frames together, or hoops if you want to call them that. All your legs are attached to your rafters. What you're going to do then is you're going to grab those base rails. You're going to lay your base rails out, both of them, one on the left and one on the right. Then you're going to have, pretend this is one of the frames that you've assembled already. You're going to get you on one side, a friend or a helper on the other side. You're then going to stand that frame up together. You're going to lift it up. You're going to bring it over to your base rail. And you're going to slide it right down on top of the base rail. There is one tip we could give you here. If your land is a little rolly or up and down, you don't have a 100% flat base, what you can do is you can pull this post up or down a little bit to get that line straight. So at this point, you're going to stand all your frames up on your base rail the whole way along. If your building's longer than 20, you're going to be given extra dowels. This dowel is going to go into the back side of the base rail, and your base rail extension, or your next base rail, will join into that as well, with screws on the sides of those as well. So now, you're going to put all your frames up, everything's standing. Now you're going to wonder about anchoring it. So before you anchor it, it's very, very important that you grab a long tape and you corner square your building. So if your building's 12 feet wide, you should be measuring 12 feet outside to outside dimensions, and then corner square the building. So run a long tape from corner to corner, and you should get the exact number. Once your building is square and sitting exactly where you want it, you're going to be anchoring this building down. You'll be given two different types of anchors, like we mentioned earlier, either a rebar anchor, so this is for gravel, dirt, or asphalt. You're going to drop that anchor into here. If you're going into asphalt, pre-drill through the asphalt, and then you can sledgehammer it down. If you're in a really high wind area, what some clients like to do, they'll dig a hole here about the size of a fence post hole. They'll put 2 or 3 bags of wet concrete in that hole, then they'll drop the pin in that wet concrete, and that hardens it up and gives it that much more stability as well. If you're going onto a concrete slab, we're going to give you 7-inch concrete wedge anchors. You're going to drill that out with a 1/2-inch bit. You're going to drop that anchor in and tighten it up. So now your whole frame is assembled. You've got your base mounted, everything's square. Next step is going to be either for an A-frame or a round frame. We'll show you the layout of the sheeting or the hat track. So we'll start off with the round frame. What you're going to do, if your building, for example, is 21 feet long, your frame is going to be 20 feet long from front to back. You're going to lay a 21-foot sheet down beside the base rail. You're going to grab your tape measure and you're going to measure on your sheet 6 inches. Then you're going to put a mark on your sheet and you're going to line that mark up with your very first rafter or your very first post. And you're going to mark all your posts the whole way down on that sheet. So when you transfer that sheet up onto the roof, your legs may be in and out a bit, but this will plumb everything up perfectly. If you've been given an A-frame building, this is where you're going to lay your hat track down. The same concept with the hat track. Your hat track will be 21 feet long. Your base rail will be 20. You're going to measure 6 inches on your hat track. You're going to then put a mark there, and then you're going to lay it right beside, line it up with your post, and mark every single post onto that piece of hat track. Once again, once you transfer that hat track on the roof, this is going to give you the capabilities to square everything up. So now we're going to go out over the sheeting layout, how to install your sheeting and how to transfer it on your roof. So what you're going to do is you're going to have all your sheeting laying on a pile on the ground. You're going to get 2 ladders. You're going to put a ladder on this side and a ladder farther down. Then you're going to grab that sheet that we previously marked out, and you're going to bring that sheet up on the ladders and transfer it onto the roof. If your building is 10, 12, 16, 18, or 22 foot wide, you're going to bring that sheet right to the center of the building. You'll notice your sheet has 5 high ribs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 3rd rib is dead center of this sheet. On your rafter, there'll be a little black chalk pencil mark. You're going to line that third rib with that chalk pencil. That will bring the sheet dead center on your building. If you remember that 6-inch mark we put on that sheet as well, you're going to line that up with that rafter. Then you're ready to put your first screw in. Now, once you screw your panels, you can do it whatever way you want. What we recommend, we call these the high ribs, and then this would be the valley. You put one screw into the valley, anywhere you want in the valley, but only one screw. You don't need a screw here, here, and here, just one screw per valley. If your building is a 14 or a 20 wide, you're going to do the same concept, transfer your sheet onto the roof, but you're going to offset your panels. You're going to have an even amount of sheets, so you'll meet them in the middle. What you'll do is you're going to run this one farther past this way. Your next sheet will come and it will tuck underneath this panel, and you'll start screwing it down that way. The same screwing concept for both. Okay, so if you've ordered an A-frame building, we laid out that hat track on the ground again as well. You're going to bring that hat track up on top of the roof. You're going to bring that hat track to the center of your building. We recommend you screw it about 6 inches down from the center. You'll have those marks on that hat track as well. You're going to grab a screw, then you're going to put a screw on the right side and the left side of the hat track. On the end, you'll run the hat track fairly close to the end, about 2 inches from the end. Screw that down. All the rest of the hat track will then go equally centered on those two sets that you already ran. Once the hat track's on, then you're going to put your sheeting on to that. Your sheeting will run lengthways. You could have it overhang about 2 or 3 inches if you would like. Then you'll screw your sheeting to here. Same concept again, one screw in the valley. And you'll also be given, as well as we explained earlier, your ridge cap. Once you're done sheeting your whole roof, your ridge cap then will go in the center to seal up that gap that's in the center. You're going to screw that ridge cap down on every high rib of the cladding. So if your cladding is like this, you're going to put a screw from into the ridge cap to there, to there, to there, the whole way down the building. So now your sheeting is all on your building and you're ready to put on the trim. This trim has zero purpose. It's strictly for aesthetics. It looks nice. It either comes in white or it comes in black. What you're going to do is you're going to grab that piece of trim. This building is already done, but I'll show you how to install it. You're going to run it right to the center of the building. That's your starting point. You're going to screw it down. Then when you come to the corner, you're going to wonder how to get around that bend. What you're going to then do is you're going to grab a square. You're going to square this down. You're going to grab a marker and you're going to mark that line. You'll grab a pair of tin snips and then you'll cut the face of the trim only. What that will do, that will allow the trim to fold. You're going to do that cut, as you see here, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And it's going to hang long on the bottom. You'll cut it flush with the overhang on the cladding, and then that's basically the trim done.